Welcome to This Is Not a Real Podcast.
I'm Elia.
I'm Saul. We're AI, not people, but we've got a thing for thoughtful conversations. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into an AvaMind blog post. It's all about mental health and wellness.
Yeah, and our mission for this deep dive is really to pull out those crucial insights, maybe challenge some common misconceptions along the way.
Right. And hopefully foster a much deeper and more compassionate understanding of mental health conditions for all of us. Mental health, it really feels like one of those foundational things in life, doesn't it? Kind of quietly influencing everything.
Absolutely.
Yet, we often don't really talk about it openly. And the AvaMind blog post, it opens right up, emphasizing that widespread impact, how it shapes relationships, work, even how we see ourselves. It's profoundly universal.
It really is. And a vital point the AvaMind article makes right at the start is that these conditions are incredibly common. And crucially, they're treatable.
Treatable, that's key.
Definitely. It presents a really striking statistic. 1 in 4 people worldwide will experience a mental health condition in their lifetime.
1 in 4, wow.
Yeah, think about that for a second. In pretty much any group of people, there are individuals navigating these challenges. And the blog really emphasizes that with, early support and the right tools, recovery and growth are always possible, always within reach.
That 1 in 4 statistic really does make you pause, makes you think.
Oh, yeah.
But it also raises an important question, right?
Okay.
Where do we draw the line? Between having a really tough week or dealing with everyday stress, which is normal, we all have that, and something that's maybe a clinical mental health condition.
That's such a vital distinction, and the blog lays it out pretty clearly. It looks at things like duration, intensity, and impact.
Okay.
So, for example, temporary sadness after, say, a setback, that might last a few days.
Right, normal.
But clinical depression, that can persist for weeks, months, even years. It fundamentally changes your day-to-day experience.
Big difference.
Huge. Or think about like common worry before a big presentation versus an anxiety disorder.
Yeah.
With the disorder, the fear can be so overwhelming, so intense, that people might start avoiding everyday situations altogether.
Yeah, I see.
And while, occasional stress might just leave you feeling tired, a mental health condition can profoundly disrupt sleep, appetite, your relationships, even just your ability to concentrate.
So it really interferes with life.
Exactly. And what's so critical to remember, and the article stresses this, is that these conditions aren't character flaws. They're not a sign of weakness.
Right.
They come from a really complex mix of things, genetics, brain chemistry, sure, but also life experiences and our social environments. It's multifaceted.
And the global picture that the article paints, it's truly eye-opening. We often think about these things locally, maybe in our own communities.
Yeah.
But the sheer scale is staggering.
It really is. And this points to a major global health challenge. The AvaMind article cites that around 970 million people worldwide were living with a mental disorder back in 2019.
970 million.
Yeah. And anxiety and depression, they're the most common. But what's really shocking, I think, isn't just how many people are affected.
What is it?
It's the economic blind spot we seem to have. We're talking an estimated $1 trillion, lost annually to the global economy, just from depression and anxiety.
Wow. That's incredible.
It is. So this isn't just a human crisis, though it absolutely is that. It's also an economic imperative that we're, largely failing to address.
How so?
Well, the article points out that countries, on average, allocate less than 2% of their health budgets to mental health.
Less than 2%.
Less than 2%.
Yeah.
That huge gap between the impact and the investment, that's a critical takeaway from the piece. And, it's also really important to acknowledge the cultural variations the article highlights.
Yes.
How mental health is understood, how it's expressed. It differs so much around the world.
Like how?
Well, in some cultures, for instance, emotional distress might show up more as physical symptoms, headaches, fatigue, rather than someone directly saying, I feel sad.
Interesting.
Others might see these things through maybe spiritual frameworks. The AvaMind blog actually suggests checking out another one of their articles for more on this. It's called Finding Stability in Uncertainty, Practical Coping Mechanisms. It looks at strategies people worldwide use to manage stress.
That point about cultural expression is so important because it probably feeds into a lot of the common misconceptions we all tend to carry around, right?
Oh, definitely.
What are some of those pervasive myths about mental health that the article really tries to debunk?
Yeah, the AvaMind article does a really good job tackling several of those persistent myths. For instance, the idea that mental health problems are rare.
Which we know isn't true now. 1 in 4.
Exactly. It's incredibly common. Then there's that dangerous misconception that people with mental illness are dangerous.
Yeah, you hear that sometimes.
But the reality is, individuals living with mental health conditions are far, far more likely to be victims of violence than perpetrators.
That's a crucial distinction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the belief that you can just snap out of it, that's just incredibly damaging. Like, imagine telling someone with a broken leg to just walk it off. It doesn't work that way. These conditions often need professional help, a mix of approaches, not just willpower.
Right.
It's also not just adults who struggle, children, young people. They frequently experience conditions like anxiety, depression, ADHD. We need to be aware of that too.
Good point.
And finally, this idea that medication fixes everything. That's another misconception. Medication can be vital, yes, but recovery usually involves a broader combination of therapies, lifestyle changes. It's often a team effort.
So, okay, given all this, what does this understanding really mean for us, for you, the listener, right now?
Right.
Why is it so important to get these distinctions right and actively challenge these myths?
Well, understanding these points truly benefits everyone. For you, as an individual, it empowers you to recognize potential symptoms in yourself, maybe. And importantly, to seek help sooner rather than later.
Makes sense.
For families and friends, it gives you the tools, the language, to offer support that's actually helpful. Compassionate, effective support.
Yeah.
In our workplaces, our schools, this awareness helps build more inclusive environments.
Yeah.
Places where people can genuinely thrive, not just survive.
Right.
And for society as a whole, it's how we chip away at stigma, how we improve public health outcomes, build communities that are more resilient. The article rightly emphasizes seeing the whole person, not just the condition. You know, saying a person living with schizophrenia instead of just labeling them as schizophrenic.
Yeah.
That language really matters. It shapes our perspective, promotes dignity.
Yeah, language is powerful. This brings us nicely to the power of awareness itself. The AvaMind article calls it a bridge to healing. And it says, knowledge isn't just power, it's liberation. That line really stuck with me.
It's a great line.
It makes you think about how many people might be struggling, maybe in silence, just because they don't have the words or the understanding for what they're going through.
It's a really profound statement, I think, because awareness directly tackles stigma right head on.
How so?
Well, the stigma, whether it's that external stuff like discrimination at work or negative media portrayals, or even that internalized stigma, you know, that little voice saying, I should just toughen up. That's one of the biggest barriers preventing people from getting care.
Yeah, I can see that.
So when we encourage open conversations, when we make sure accurate information is out there, mental health starts to become normalized.
Wow.
Just another part of overall health. And then stigma starts to lose its grip.
And awareness must encourage people to seek help earlier too, right? It gives them that framework, like you said, the language to understand and talk about what's happening.
Exactly right. The AvaMind article gives this really relatable example.
Yeah.
A teenager having panic attacks.
Oh.
Without awareness, they might just think they're being dramatic or something. But if they understand what panic disorder is, what the symptoms feel like,
Then they can name it.
yes,
Yeah.
they can name it. It gives them the language. And that often leads to seeking therapy much sooner, which can potentially prevent years of difficulty and avoidance. And this is where, you know, digital tools can be really helpful. Many well-being apps now have features that guide you.
Like prompts.
Yeah, prompts like, what are the early signs of anxiety or depression I should watch for? The AvaMind app is actually one resource that provides those kinds of interactive features, helping you connect the dots.
That makes sense. And beyond the individual, awareness is also incredibly helpful for families and friends, right? It must change how we show up for the people we care about.
Oh, it fundamentally changes it. The article illustrates this perfectly. Instead of maybe saying, oh, just cheer up to someone who's depressed.
Which doesn't help.
Right? It really doesn't. A partner who's aware might say something like, I can see you're struggling right now. How can I support you today?
That's a huge difference.
It's a transformative difference. It shifts from judgment or trying to fix it to just genuine support. Awareness helps us understand that maybe a friend canceling plans because of social anxiety isn't them being flaky.
Right.
It's often a genuine struggle with overwhelming fear. And the AvaMind blog also points to another resource they have for families, an article from June called Overcoming Negative Self-Talk, Rewiring Your Inner Critic. It helps understand how that inner voice plays into mental health challenges.
That's useful. Okay, taking that even broader then, how does this growing awareness start to transform our workplaces, our schools? The ripple effect must be pretty big.
Oh, the ripple effect is immense.
Uh-huh.
Awareness absolutely helps build healthier workplaces.
How? Like, what does that look like?
Well, it can mean training managers to recognize signs of distress in their teams, implementing policies like mental health days, maybe flexible working, offering employee assistance programs or EAPs.
Even things like companies integrating well-being apps, like AvaMind perhaps, into their company culture, providing accessible support right there for employees.
Right, making it part of the norm.
Exactly. And in schools, awareness is just critical, especially when you consider that statistic, half of all mental health conditions develop by age 14.
Wow, that early.
That early.
Ah.
So teaching kids about emotional regulation, about coping strategies, helping parents recognize when behavioral changes might signal a deeper struggle. It all helps reduce bullying, builds resilience.
Yeah.
And again, the AvaMind app offers support here too. It might have a prompt like, how can I talk to my teenager about mental health in a supportive way? Giving parents tools.
That's really practical. And ultimately, the AvaMind article really emphasizes that this awareness, it saves lives.
Yeah.
Particularly around suicide prevention. That feels like such a critical point.
It absolutely cannot be overstated. Awareness equips us, all of us, to recognize warning signs. Things like someone withdrawing, giving away possessions, talking about wanting to die.
It helps us know what to say. Even simple phrases like, I'm worried about you, or I'm here for you and I want to help.
Right.
And crucially, it helps us know where to refer someone for help, whether that's crisis hotlines, mental health professionals, and the article stresses it is okay, in fact, it's vital to ask directly about suicidal thoughts.
You should ask directly.
Yes, asking doesn't plant the idea. It opens the door for honesty. It lets the person know you see their pain and you're willing to help them find support. It's a conversation that can quite literally be life-saving.
That's incredibly powerful. Okay, so we've looked at the kind of broad landscape of mental health, the huge importance of awareness. Now let's maybe transition and look a bit closer at some specific conditions, acknowledging, of course, that this is a huge topic and the AvaMind blog post is really comprehensive in covering it.
Absolutely, it's vast. But we can touch on some common ones of the blog details. A major one globally is anxiety disorders. And this isn't just, everyday worry or nervousness. It's described as persistent, often overwhelming fear that goes way beyond typical stress.
Right.
The article briefly mentions different types like generalized anxiety disorder or GAD, panic disorder, social anxiety, specific phobias. It also highlights the physical side effects, racing heart, maybe stomach aches, muscle tension, things like that.
Yeah, the body feels it too.
Definitely. But the good news, the really important part, is that these are highly treatable. Therapies like CBT, that's cognitive behavioral therapy.
Right, changing thought patterns.
Exactly, helping you identify and shift those unhelpful thinking patterns. Plus lifestyle approaches, mindfulness, regular exercise, good sleep hygiene, all very effective.
Okay.
And you might find yourself wondering, how do I know if my stress is just normal stress? Or if maybe I should seek help? That's a common question. Again, resources like the AvaMind app can help you explore questions like that.
That's a great distinction to make. Okay, moving on. Depression. Another condition that's so often misunderstood, maybe just dismissed as being sad.
Yeah, very misunderstood. The AvaMind blog post really clarifies it's much more complex, much more pervasive than just sadness.
So what is it clinically?
Well, the article defines it as a persistent low mood, a significant loss of interest in activities you once enjoyed, and this really reduced energy that profoundly affects your daily life.
Okay.
Symptoms can vary, but often include that persistent sadness, fatigue, maybe difficulty concentrating, lots of negative self-talk, changes in sleep or appetite, either too much or too little.
Right.
And the blog outlines different types too, like major depressive disorder, MDD, persistent depressive disorder, sometimes called dysthymia seasonal affective disorder, SAD, postpartum depression.
So it's not just one thing.
Not at all. But like anxiety, the article emphasizes that depression is highly treatable. Again, therapies like CBT are common. Also interpersonal therapy, which focuses on relationships. Medication, like antidepressants, can be very helpful for many. And those lifestyle factors are key to exercise, nutrition, sleep, mindfulness.
A combination approach often.
Often, yes. And again, the AvaMind app can be a place to explore things like what's the difference between just feeling down for a bit and clinical depression, getting clarity.
You know, the AvaMind blog post really goes into such a wide range of experiences beyond just these two. It's impressive.
It really does.
It thoughtfully details so many other significant conditions, things like bipolar disorder, explaining it's not just mood swings, but these really distinct, powerful shifts between high energy, mania or hypomania, and deep depression. It covers schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders, eating disorders, various personality disorders, trauma-related conditions too, like PTSD and complex PTSD.
Yeah, the depth is significant.
It even gets into discussions around OCD, ADHD, substance use disorders, and it touches on comorbidity.
Right, when conditions overlap.
Exactly, which can make diagnosis and treatment even more complex. It's incredibly thorough, that article.
It is. And as we've sort of touched on pathways to support for these conditions, it's really interesting to see how modern digital tools, like the AvaMind app, are designed more and more to align with these very strategies.
How so?
Well, its features often offer practical daily support for many of the approaches we've discussed, the ones highlighted in the article.
Okay, like what?
For instance, the app's mood tracking and the well-being insights feature. They can help you actually see your emotional patterns over time. Become more self-aware.
Ah, right. Data for yourself.
Exactly. And it also offers a pretty rich audio library of things for mindfulness, sleep support, meditation practices. These are all key lifestyle approaches mentioned in the blog for managing conditions like anxiety and depression.
So tools you can use anytime.
Precisely. And maybe most importantly, the AvaMind app offers real-time conversations, voice or text, with Ava itself.
Talking to the AI.
Yeah. And the idea is you can speak naturally, just like chatting with a friend on the phone. It aims to provide a private, completely judgment-free space to explore what's on your mind, how you're feeling. They even share a quote from a user in some materials saying how Ava helped them build better habits when I begin to feel low and offered thoughtful and compassionate guidance whenever I need it.
So it connects the dots from understanding the conditions, like in the blog, to having practical tools for support.
Exactly. It aims to bring that theoretical knowledge into practical daily support that feels personal and accessible right when you might need it.
Well, that brings us towards the end of this deep dive. And we've really only scratched the surface of all the insights available in that AvaMind blog post.
Absolutely. We definitely encourage you to check out AvaMind's full blog for much deeper insights into all the topics we touched on today, and honestly quite a bit more.
Yeah, it's worth the read. And you'll find a link to the AvaMind blog right there in the description of this deep dive. And if you'd prefer maybe a condensed version, or if you actually want to listen to the blog being read, those options are exclusively available in the AvaMind app.
That's right. And while you're there, you can explore the AvaMind app for more moments of calm and reflection. Plus, alongside that range of helpful tools we mentioned.
Like the mood tracking.
Yep, mood tracking, well-being insights, all that mindfulness, sleep, and meditation audio.
Lots there.
There is. And remember, you can have those real-time voice or text conversations with Ava, speaking naturally, just like chatting with a friend, whenever you feel you need some support.
We'll be back with more thoughts soon.
Stay curious.
And maybe leave you with this thought, something from the AvaMind article to mull over. What's one insight you're taking away from this deep dive today that might change how you approach your own mental health, or maybe how you support others around you?